Welcome to this new lesson in the Photoshop course and this new section on the layer panel. We're going to do a quick deep dive into this layer panel, and by the end of this section you'll be actually working and finishing your own project using these assets. So again, if you have them downloaded, I'm using the Project 1 Resizing and Placing Layers project. If you're using an older version of Photoshop and if you're not able to open this project file for some reason, go to the photos and you can actually just start a new project and import the images. The best way to do that is just opening the background in Photoshop like so. Just right click and open it in Photoshop, and then what we're going to do is just drag and drop all of the PNG layers, which are already selected sort of cutouts of all of these different assets. I'm selecting all of them, tabbing over to Photoshop, and then just placing them in here. So either way, I just want to let you know, if you for some reason are having trouble opening the original project file, you can start one from scratch yourself. So you've seen this as we've started this layer panel. And this is just all of the different assets that you add or create within Photoshop. They are ordered in the way that they are sort of placed on top of each other. So for example, the bird, if I move it around, is above the boy or this girl, whoever this is, the kid facing away. The elephant is behind these three, and all of these are in front of our background. You can drag these layers up and down to move them around if you want. One other quick thing to note is if you are having trouble selecting a specific layer, depending on the project you're working on, it may be because this is unchecked, auto select, and you want to have it on layer instead of group. And if you're not seeing the sort of boundary box or the bounding box with these handles, it's because of this show transform controls is off as well. So you might be like clicking around and trying to resize, but you don't know how to do that, or it's not showing up. Just click that show transform controls. Got it? So the cool thing about the layer panel is there is so much you can do in here. For each layer, there's a lot of different properties that you can get into. A couple of the main ones are the opacity right here. So let's take our little elephant, and you can adjust these in multiple ways. One is by clicking the drop down and dropping down the opacity. So opacity is how opaque it is, how transparent it is. So the higher the opacity means the less transparent. There's also these blending modes, which we'll dive into in a future lesson, but you can automatically start to see how you can create some cool sort of stylized graphics using these blending modes. It's basically a way to blend multiple images or whatever one you're selecting and changing the blending mode with whatever's in the foreground or really the background. You have these properties for each layer. So for example, if you hover over these, it shows you lock transparent pixels, lock image pixels, lock position, prevent auto nesting into and out of artboards and frames, lock all. So if you click lock all, it means that I can't click or select the elephant at all. I can click everything else. You see this little lock icon up here next to the elephant, and even if I click the elephant layer, I can't do anything to it. And that's good if you're done with a layer or you just don't want to mess with it. Sometimes you're working on a project and there's so many layers that are kind of close to each other, and you have trouble clicking the proper one. It's a good idea to know that you can just quickly lock it. These other ones are more specific to a specific type of locking. For example, you might want to lock the position, but still be able to edit things like the transparency or things like that. So see, we lock the position, but we can still drop the opacity with just the lock position on. A couple of these other ones we'll get into probably later in the course. But for now, it's mostly just knowing that you can lock it is a good idea. And then you can also turn on and off this layer with this little eyeball next to the layer. And that's just making it sort of disappearing it for now or making it invisible. So if for some reason we're working on something in the background, but we don't want to get rid of this layer, we can just turn it off so we can see the background. You see this fill percentage. This has to do more with paths, shapes, or text that you're creating. I'm going to go ahead and jump and really quickly show you what happens if I select our shape tool, which has a number of shapes, but the primary one is the rectangle tool. These options up here will probably look different for you, but you basically have a fill, which is the color inside the shape. You have a stroke, which is the color on the outside. And so if I click and drag and create a rectangle like so, and then we drop our fill, it's going to drop the inside of the opacity of the inside fill color, but the outside stroke color, which is this yellow, and if I boost the size of that a lot more, you can kind of really see it, it's not going to drop the opacity of that. We're going to dive into shape layers in the future, but I just wanted to show you what that fill percentage is. If you're using an image like a photo without an edge, which is something you can do, you can create a stroke or an edge around these images, and you drop the fill, it's basically just going to be the same as this opacity slider up here. Also notice that when I created a new layer, or that rectangle shape, it created this new layer. Cool, huh? So now you know if you create any sort of new shape, it's going to add it to your layers. To delete a layer, which I'm going to do, is just select that layer, press the delete key on your keyboard. I'm going to undo that, or just click this trash can down at the bottom. I'm going to say don't show again because I don't care. If I click that, I want to delete it without being reminded that I'm deleting it. So that's pretty much a good precursor intro to the layer panel. We're going to dive into some other things like grouping and some of these other options down here. The layer panel is something you're going to be working in a lot, and don't get too, I guess, daunted by it because there's so much going on. It's something that you'll get more and more comfortable with as you work on. And even I feel like there's so many things in Photoshop, and you right click an object and you see all these different options, and some things I still don't even know, and I've been using Photoshop for over a decade. So don't get daunted, keep with it, and we'll just keep going.